Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our Be Connected mini-series delivered by us at the Beacon Foundation. Firstly, before we start, we wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the lands across the nation that we meet upon today. We wish to pay our deepest respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and to their elders past, present and emerging. I also wish to extend that respect to any First Nations peoples joining us today. So today we are joined by Bianca, who is co-owner of Stillwater Restaurant and Black Cow Bistro in Tasmania and a passionate member of her local community. And we will be talking to Bianca about personal brand and how important the right attitude is at work and in our lives in general. So hi Bianca, great to have you with us today. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Thanks very much for having me.
So before we start to get to the questions, I just wanted to take a moment. You are actually sitting in the restaurant today?
Yes.
Yes, and this is Stillwater Restaurant?
Yes.
Yep, fantastic. And could you take us maybe on a little bit of a quick tour and just give us an idea of, obviously in COVID-19 situation, you can't have customers in and sitting down like you normally would. So how have you guys adapted things for your business?
Yeah, so we've now gone to a takeaway model like a lot of other venues have. We knew we needed to do that as quickly as we could. So within those first couple of days, we were rolling out a takeaway menu. So in the mornings, we just do takeaway coffee and sort of breakfast, a couple of breakfast options like egg and bacon rolls and that sort of stuff. We've got retail wine, beer, lots of different products, of course, all local. And then at night we do dinner just Wednesday through to Saturday, takeaway dinner, which we also offer delivery as well. At our sister restaurant, Black Cow Bistro, we're also doing takeaway dinner, and that's Wednesday to Saturday again, and that's again takeaway and delivery, and we're using our own team to do that rather than using a third party.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, yes. I think I underestimated how much work it would be to pivot, as everyone's saying, to provide a takeaway model. Yeah,
absolutely. And you've got the team in the kitchen today?
Yes, so we've got a bit of a walk. So obviously the restaurant's all set up as just for when we facilitate takeaway orders, so looking very different to what it used to. And then in the kitchen we've got a few guys doing prep.
Fantastic.
And then we'll walk down this way into the bar area. I've got some of my team there making coffee in the bar.
Fantastic. So that's where the public comes in and orders coffee from
through the main doors there, and you can see on that way. Disorientated doing this backwards. All of our retail wine and products as well.
Fantastic. So lots of opportunity there to buy Mother's Day gifts, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. It's always good to see behind the scenes. So thank you for taking us on a tour. I'll let you sit down first and then we'll get stuck into the questions. So as I mentioned, we're talking about personal brand and having the right attitude. So I first wanted to ask you, it's a bit of a framing question for everyone watching today. What does personal brand mean to you and how would you describe your own?
Personal brand means to me how I would want people to describe me if they were asked to describe what I am or who I am. And another way to frame it or look at it is, as morbid as it sounds, how I'd want someone to describe me at my funeral. It really puts into perspective what things are important to you. And I think as well, it really hones in on all the things we talk about on the soft, the soft skills that we all talk about often, and particularly in the Beacon Foundation. So for me, my personal brand is about just being authentic. And I know that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Treating people the way I want to be treated. It means to me giving my best into everything I do, and even if I fail at doing that, at least I know I've put in the effort that I'm capable of doing. and it means as well how I want to achieve my goals. I think I don't actively think about my personal brand. I just think about how I want to live my life, and I always want to live my life by doing things I enjoy. And so that makes up my personal brand as such.
Yeah, it's a really good way of looking at it. I've actually never heard the funeral description, but I think it's not a silly way to look at things. Absolutely. Thank you for sort of framing that up for us. So how have your experiences shaped your personal brand and attitude? Because you've obviously had a fantastic career and very varied and very successful. So how have your experiences, shaped sort of how you see yourself?
I always say that every experience is a good experience, and even if that is a bad experience, you will still learn something from it and take something from it. The mistakes I've made are probably the opportunities in my life that I've been able to learn the most, and so that certainly shaped who I am. I cannot stress enough that if you put yourself out there in something that it's potentially a little bit scary, you think you're not going to be good at, you will learn so much about yourself. That's really where the growth happens. You know, there's the saying that diamonds are made under pressure. If you don't put yourself under pressure, you can't strengthen, you can't learn, you can't grow. So yeah, my whole philosophy, as I said before, is I always want to do what I enjoy doing, and that keeps you authentic. It keeps you interested in what you're doing, and as well, hungry for knowledge. I think is one of the biggest things, and I will get to it, as something that I look for in people, is that you always want to be interested in your surrounding, not necessarily exactly what you're doing, but in what's happening around you. Some of the most successful people in hospitality have been people that have started out as a dishy, as we say, you know, in the sink. And watching people around them and going, oh, what's that? What's this? How do you do that? You know, some of the best chefs in the world started out as washing dishes. I started out in takeaway. Funnily enough, I've gone full circle, and I've come back to that now. But my career, you know, I like to say I started in advertising, and I was a wobble boarder for Domino's Pizza on a very rough northern suburbs corner in Launceston. And I certainly saw a lot of things there and experienced a lot of really crazy things there. But each experience, no matter how menial some people might see as the job, I've always learnt so much. And then I went on to McDonald's, and I loved my time there and learnt so much because I was just interested in what was happening around me. So yeah, every experience has led me onto another path. And I guess I'm a bit of a yes person, because I don't want to miss a potential opportunity. I'm always going to all different events or saying yes to doing crazy things, because I know that the people that I'll meet along the way or the experience that I'll get will lead me on to another. You know, everything is a stepping stone to get to just another journey.
Such fantastic advice. I too had McDonald's as one of my first jobs, and it was fantastic. And
yeah,
you
I
certainly
can't
do.
enough.
No, that's right. And you certainly do learn a lot from, you know, way back when your first job, 15, 16. Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking us through all of that. It's great to hear about some of your past experiences. So you mentioned that you look for team members who are hungry for knowledge. And I assume by now you've had a lot of experience in hiring new team for your business. So how important is the right attitude in a team member, and what attitude traits do you specifically look for in new team?
I don't think there's a stock standard type of attitude or type of person. It's a really big combination of a lot of things. I guess though, overarching is people that just have a positive attitude, and a can-do attitude, and an attitude that they want to learn. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been hiring people for that period of time. So I've hired between our three businesses. We've also got the accommodation as well as Black Cow and Stillwater Restaurant. Because I'm a list person, so I've got it all recorded. So I've got, I think I've hired almost 400 people in my time. And some people work out, some people don't, some people stay for a little while, some people I've had for almost that entire decade working with us. And that's just for front of house. So my business partner looks after the kitchen. And yeah, there's not one model person. It is a combination. But people that I've hired people that have had a varying range of experience in their life, and specific to hospitality industry. And I'm always keen to take those people on that want to better themselves. They could have been in the industry for longer than I have, for decades longer than I have, but they're still keen to want to hone their skills and to learn and grow more. I think if you think you know everything about the job, you probably don't, but it means that you're not ready. You can't grow. We can all grow. I would never say that I know everything about my industry, about my job, about what I do. I always want to continue learning and growing. And I really look for that in people. The right attitude, in that you might be, a right attitude also relates to being able to sit with discomfort. I think that's a really big one. Hospitality is a challenging one, particularly for both front of house and for the kitchen. But for front of house, you have to front up to a huge range of people. You need so many different skills to be a waiter, or just a front of house person, a bartender, barista. You face a lot of different scenarios. No day of mine is ever the same. In my whole career, I've never had 2 days the same, which is a part of what I love about what I do. But you can find yourself in really tricky situations and find yourself dealing with really tricky people. And I think to be able to sit with that discomfort is a trait that I look for, that you can just, I guess, maneuver your way through the situation as best as possible to get the best outcome for the customer, but also for yourself and also for the business. I guess people that are looking for a challenge as well, and the right attitude to be able to work in a team. I know that sounds cliche, but what we do, and any workplace, every single workplace, you've got to work as a team, unless you're a sole trader. But even then, when you're a sole trader, you're still probably out there working with, I've got a friend that comes to mind who's a photographer. Obviously, when he goes out to, say, a shoot, a wedding, a photo shoot of any type, that they still need to work as a team with the person in front of them, with the model, with the wedding party, with the venue provider. There's every situation you've got to work as a team. So having those skills to just be kind, and to I think as well to identify the strengths and weaknesses in people, and to be able to identify the strengths and weaknesses in people.
There's some really nice sort of little tips there about what you watch out for. So it's more about, if you have the right attitude, and potentially maybe not all that experience of 20 years in the industry, if it's the right person with the right attitude, they'll get somewhere. Is that about
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
I've had some of my most successful people that have gone on to run, restaurants in, one became an assistant sommelier at Dinner by Heston's in London. Another waiter went on to become sommelier at, the 8th best restaurant in Asia. I've got another ex-staff member who went on, she's restaurant manager at arguably Australia's best restaurant, Attica. And they are all of those ones came from no experience. They had no experience in the industry. You can really go far in any job and in any industry if you have the right attitude and you find the right mentor, and you find the right people to connect with. It's all about relationships, and it's all about finding the right people that fit with your values that you can learn from.
Absolutely. And that probably falls nicely into the next question. It's all very well to know all the things that you look out for, but if you fundamentally don't have those and you're trying to fake what you think a new employer might like, how difficult is that going to be? So how important is it to be authentically you, I guess?
So important. Any recruiter, any interviewer can smell through those that BS. I won't say the full word. It is crucial. It is. I've done a few of the different Beacon kind of speed interviewing sessions or practicing interviewing skills, and it's so important to sell your story, because you don't know when your story will connect with the person that's sitting in front of you. So say, for example, I did a session with Beacon and I had a young boy. We were practicing interview skills, and he quickly told me his interests and just sort of glossed over them really fast, but said how much he likes fishing, blah, blah, blah. And when I actually dug deeper into why he likes fishing, it really connected with me in that he likes to sit and be able to, just think and spend that time kind of on his own and with his thoughts. And that was really meaningful to me and tells the person in front of you a little bit more about yourself. So whilst you think that story might not be important for a job interview, if you are just sharing a little bit about yourself, you just never know when that will connect with someone, and then that can be a good conduit to start to explain about you and your values. If you just are trying to tick off a box of things that you think the person wants to hear, you're not going to get very far.
Absolutely. I can certainly relate to that. Always try and be authentically you. That's fantastic. And we have actually reached the last question in our interview for today. So you've touched on a few really great points, particularly about, you say yes to a lot of opportunities and try and never be afraid and jump in. Is there anything that students watching today can do to understand and develop their own personal brand, do you think?
Big one that I say at almost every time that I go out to a school and do a talk or whatever is you can find out so much more about yourself if you find out what you don't like. So I fell into my industry and what I do because I found out what I didn't like. So I thought I wanted to go into hotels and run accommodation places. And I know I've said I've got rooms on site now, but it's very different. We've only got 7 rooms. We are a restaurant with rooms rather than rooms with a restaurant. And I had followed this path of education and training to kind of lead me into hotels. And I started some work experience in that when I was back at Drysdale and at TAFE. And actually realized, gosh, this is really not for me. I'm not enjoying it. And so then that kind of pushed me into, I was also doing some work experience in a restaurant at the time and thought, gosh, I'm really enjoying this. I might just keep pursuing it and see how I go. So a lot of what the messages are out there is that you need to go out and find what you're passionate about. But you can find that by doing things that you might not think you like or that you do like, and then you realize, oh God, this is not for me. And that's absolutely fine if what you've sought after you realize is not for you. That's good. You've ticked it. You've knocked something off. You've satisfied your curiosity, and it might lead you to something that you really enjoy and are passionate about. And and it's never ending. I've now got I did my bachelor in behavioural science, graduated a couple of years ago, and did that to strengthen what I do as a manager and to learn more about the mind and how our brain works. And if you had said to me when I was in college, I used to do all the other units. I never even did a psychology unit. I did sociology. I did everything else around it. I had no interest in it whatsoever. And then through my career and interests, I then found this passion for it and then ended up doing a degree. And if you told me that back in college, I would have absolutely laughed. I had no idea what psychology was about. So it's always, it's forever evolving.
Fantastic. Isn't it funny where we end up?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Bianca. That's actually all that we've got time for today. But it's been fantastic. And thank you to everyone watching here today. And if you wanted to re-watch any of our sessions, they will be available on our YouTube channel for the duration of Term 2. And you can check out our full mini-series schedule in the description below this video. And make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss a session. Also, make sure that you check out our other online programs via our website. We have our regularly scheduled industry live events throughout the year. So if you are a high school teacher and you'd like your students to attend, please register your school at our Industry Live webpage, which you'll also find in the description below this video. So thanks everyone again, and we'll see you all next time.